Evan Washburn, his training camp tour, he might get MVP. I'm going to throw it out there. Started off with Buffalo and Detroit, now in Minnesota, and this does not end from him going down to the Kansas City Chiefs, bumping back over to the East Coast to the Patriots. The list goes on and on. He is going to be a very, very busy man. I'm sure his family is like, hey, buddy, football season hasn't technically started yet. Can you please come home? But the 2025 Minnesota Vikings, that's where he is right now. They are entering a brand new chapter. We got young, hungry talent. They're retooling fast. J.J. McCarthy poised to take the reins at quarterback. Justin Jefferson, still one of the league's elite weapons. This offense has some serious upside defensively. Brian Flores continuing to build a fast, aggressive unit. As we welcome in our NFL reporter, Evan Washburn, joining us now. Evan, you're looking good out there. What are the expectations for J.J. McCarthy as he takes over as QB1 in Minnesota?
Well, first of all, Jenny, I want to mention that my family is well aware that football season starts in late July.
There we go.
This as well out there in Big Ten country. Look, expectations are kind of mixed in the sense that for the team, for what they could do if they get capable quarterback play, are through the roof. This is a NFC championship caliber team, a Super Bowl caliber team, if they can have a strong, if nothing else, just average quarterback play from J.J. McCarthy. And that's what makes this, honestly, in my opinion, one of the more fascinating teams here in late July, early August, before we get into the meat of the season, because we just don't know what we're going to get from a guy who got to play a little bit in training camp last year, one preseason game, looked great, and then had to deal with a knee injury all offseason and has to build himself back up and now wear the weight of all those expectations. So it's one of those things where we could talk about it, which we will today. Excited to get out there to practice, talk to Kevin O'Connell and some of the guys and get a sense for how it's going, but we won't really know until we get into the season.
You mentioned Kevin O'Connell there. If he can guide J.J. McCarthy to a playoff berth, it would mark the third quarterback he's led there in as many seasons. What does that say about his coaching style and just him in general?
Well, look, he's been deemed, as some in the past have as well, as a QB whisperer, and I think in his case there's some validity to that moniker. I think what Kevin O'Connell has in his bag that some don't is he's lived it. He was a quarterback, obviously, in college at San Diego State, was a late-round draft pick, spent some time with the Patriots, bounced around this league on rosters, so he knows what it's like to feel not just expectations, but the pressures that come with the position. He's an extremely bright guy. He's got some real emotional intelligence as well, how he handles young people. He's still pretty young himself. We're not far off in age, so I always feel like he's a young man out there coaching. And I think you put that all into the mix here, and it produces a coach and a specifically offensive play caller and quarterback coach, if you want to put that in there as well, a guy that's perfectly suited for what he's tasked with right now with J.J. McCarthy, how he handled Kirk Cousins coming into that situation, what he did with Sam Darnold. But this will be, in my opinion, I don't want to say his hardest job, because JJ is an extremely talented player that can do all the things, if not more, than those previous two guys. But again, because of those expectations, the eyes on this team, he's well aware of the fact that when you factor in their defense, what they have in terms of offensive skill positions, what they've done to their offensive line, this is a team that he's the head coach of that's built to make a run, and they need to make sure that that quarterback position is solidified.
J.J. McCarthy is certainly in good hands over there. You mentioned the defense, and you look at some of the additions from this offseason, Hargrave, Allen. How does that change the dynamic of the Vikings' defensive line?
I love it, Jenny, because this was one of the more terrorizing defenses in the league last year because of what Brian Flores is able to kind of diagnose and the way that they ran it with all the blitzes and the disguises. But now they're really solidifying the interior, really on both sides of the ball. When you look at this team from a 30,000-foot view, it's clear the offseason priority outside of J.J. McCarthy at quarterback was we need to be tougher inside. And defensively, they did that with Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave. So they only add to what was an extremely effective defense that I think will just be better this year as long as they can stay healthy. That's always the caveat this time of year. We can make these wild sort of statements about how good a unit or player will be or team, but it comes down to health in a lot of scenarios. But I really like, again, the investment in the offseason at the line of scrimmage to be tougher in those big moment games. Remember, specific to that playoff loss to the Rams and then the Week 18 loss to the Lions, they got beat up inside on both sides, and I think they recognize that with what they did in free agency and the draft. Should be mentioned, added Donovan Jackson out of Ohio State, the guard.
Evan Washburn holding it down in Minnesota, giving us the latest from Vikings camp. I hope your family can give you lots of kisses.
Skull Vikings fam, it's your guy Victor here with Report Vikings, and buckle up because this one's crazy. We're talking about a potential blockbuster move that could shake the entire NFL. There's real smoke around Tyreek Hill, possibly being traded from the Dolphins. And guess who I think should be all over that? That's right, our Minnesota Vikings. So here's the deal, Miami's in a tough spot financially. Yeah, I know, it sounds wild. Why would you even think about trading Tyreek Hill, right? He's still one of the most explosive players in football, but money talks and the Dolphins are dealing with major salary cap pressure. They can save over $20 million if they trade him instead of cutting him. That's a huge chunk of cash. And let's be real, this ain't about production. Hill was just ranked the number 3 wide receiver in the league by execs and scouts. He's still a game breaker. Even if he's maybe lost half a step, he's still faster than 98% of the league. He's putting up elite numbers year after year. Now here's where things get spicy for us in Minnesota. We've got the cap space flexibility coming up. We've got a young quarterback in McCarthy who's gonna need weapons to grow with. And yes, we already have the best receiver in football in Justin Jefferson, and we just drafted a baller in Jordan Addison. But think about it, what if we put Tyreek Hill in that mix? Jefferson, Addison, Tyreek. That's a 3-headed monster that no defense wants to see. You stack the box, boom, Tyreek over the top. You play soft, good luck guarding Jefferson underneath. Addison runs wild in the middle. There's no defensive scheme that can contain that trio. From a football perspective, Tyreek's fit in Kevin O'Connell's offense would be filthy. We run a spread system that thrives on mismatches and speed, and that's Hill's bread and butter. He'd stretch defenses horizontally and vertically, opening up everything for JJ in our run game. And let's not forget, Tyreek had 1,799 receiving yards last season and 13 touchdowns. At age 30, that's not slowing down. That's called staying elite. Now, of course, this won't come cheap. Miami's gonna want picks, probably a first and maybe more. But if we believe JJ is the guy, and the front office clearly does, then you go get him everything he needs. You build a championship caliber offense while your QB's still on that rookie deal. Yeah, the contract's big. Tyreek's got a $90 million deal, but the Vikings aren't paying top dollar to a QB right now, and we've got room to maneuver. This is exactly the type of bold move that contenders make. Now I want to hear from you, Vikings Nation. Would you go all in and trade for Tyreek Hill? Would you make that move and give JJ the fastest receiver in the league? Or do you think our WR room is already set? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm talking trade packages, contract takes, cap math. Go all in. And don't forget to hit that like button if you're riding with this team, and subscribe for all the updates. Because if something breaks, we're breaking it here first. This is Victor, your diehard purple and gold brother, signing off. Let's go get dangerous, let's go get aggressive, and let's go get that ring. Skull, baby!